Today we're looking at a bag that if you are familiar with the bag community, you have definitely thought about owning, purchased, maybe even sold yourself, and, like me, rebought. It's the incomparable PRVKE from WANDRD. Welcome back to another bag review by Dave Sam. My name is Dave Sam. Today we are looking at a bag that has just dominated the last 10 years in the carry community. Like I mentioned, the WANDRD PRVKE. Sorry, my old man shoulders are not able to carry what they used to. The WANDRD PRVKE here, we are on version 4 of this backpack. If you're like me, like I mentioned, you've had probably at least version 2, maybe even version 3 of this bag. I loved the mini when I had it. Sadly, I was not using it that much after a little while, especially during the COVID years. So I did give it to one of my photographer friends. That being said, I missed it a lot. Great bag. Version 4, even better, of course. And we're gonna talk about all the things that make it so right now. For those of you that don't know WANDRD or are unfamiliar with their story, this is a company like many startups that started in somebody's kitchen or in their backyard, if you will, at their house with designs on a piece of paper in about 2015. Started by two brothers, Ryan and Spencer Cope. They were planning individual trips out to places like Paris and New Zealand. Big photography guys, really wanted something that could carry all of their gear, but could not find the right bag that had all the right feature set that they were looking for. Every bag either kind of was that ugly, too functional look, or just not appropriate for the amount of camera gear that they were looking to bring. And with the design, they hit Kickstarter, one of the, I don't even want to say OG Kickstarter brands, right? But one of those folks who is not unfamiliar with Kickstarter, definitely in the EDC community, one of those OGs that really went out of their way to find the community, build the community, and deliver a really kick-ass product. So on Kickstarter, this is where the PRVKE was born. This is V1 that came out of the Kickstarter version. Wild success. Overall, really awesome bag. The design that you're seeing here hasn't changed much, right? So has always kind of had the magnetic clasp with the roll top, this kind of front pocket here that we'll discuss, and this open to the back. Now, the harness and some of these features have changed back here, but ultimately this kind of semi-clamshell opening to the back, which we'll discuss in a second, is one of those things that has lasted. V1 being that pioneer. In version 2, they fixed some of the internal admin and storage, some of the most frequented feedback that they were getting from the community, they decided to incorporate into the bag. And then in V3, they launched this all new PRVKE, which had multiple sizes, really fulfilling the entirety of the range. Like I said, all the way down to a mini, all the way up to a 41 liter. The one that we're gonna be looking at today is the 21 liter expandable roll top, of course, just like all the others. And the nice thing about having a bag that has consistently had these versions is that we can see the progress that they're making. We can see the incorporation of those requested features as we are progressing with the bag. So V4 is kind of the culmination of everything. So like I mentioned, I have the 21 liter version. This is great for daily carry. It is going to be able to carry quite a lot of stuff, maybe a little bit of overnight gear if you just need to take a change of underwear and a t-shirt or something like that, but you're mostly going to be wearing the same amount of clothes or the same clothes. You could probably get away with a night in this, but functionally 21 liter right in the middle of the pack. There's a mini that is like 11, 15 liters. There's a 31 and then a 41 as well. The 41, huge, really good for travel. 31, good for lots of gear and maybe travel, either or. The 41 gives you the versatility of going all the way to a full kind of travel bag where you can fit 2 or 3, maybe even 4 days worth of clothes, as well as a bunch of camera gear. And if you're familiar with WANDRD bags, you know about this tarpaulin material that they use. It feels like kind of a rubberized material across the entirety of the bag, except for the bottom and the roll top. They are a ballistic nylon that's basically like sewn onto this tarpaulin material. Now, this bag legitimately feels like it would just last in any storm or in the middle of the desert or really anywhere, right? Like it feels like it's completely waterproof. You can see in the zippers here. All the zippers are YKK zippers with this reverse seam design. So the main part of the seam is on the inside. This just keeps water out so well. Not all of them are this waterproof material. Some of them are going to be really normal looking zippers, but again have that reverse style of zipper. Now empty, this thing is just under 3 pounds, 2.9 pounds. Because you're going to be using it with camera gear, I would expect it to be on the plus side of heavy. At least for me, I use this almost exclusively for when I'm going to be carrying a good amount of camera gear. So that stuff just ends up being heavy. I would expect the bag to probably on your back be that 15, 20 pound range, maybe even a little heavier, depending on what type of gear you're bringing. Like I mentioned, there is a roll top. And so the roll top, from the top, there is a clip here. You can pop that out. It's not a huge roll top. It's got a couple of Velcro pieces, as you can see, to really keep it locked in. Some hard, I don't know, plastic material of some kind underneath both of these flaps at the top here to keep it a little bit more rigid, a little easier for it to actually clasp all the way across, which is super nice. Again, as you're thinking about how you're waterproofing gear in here, this roll top is great. Anyways, expands your capacity by 3 to 4 liters. So it's not a ton of roll top space, but if you have some variable clothing that you're gonna just toss in here, if you got a couple of larger tech items that you wanna throw in here, like I do, you can give it just the one roll here without going all the way down. And then of course, you can cinch it down in various different locations. There are 3 points to cinch it down here across the roll top of the bag. Now there is another way into the roll top without actually opening it up. If you flip the bag over, you've got 2 zippers here, one for a quick access pocket, and then one going directly into the roll top compartment. A really wide zipper here, which is nice, giving you full access to what's in the roll top. So we'll just start taking stuff out here. Of course, there you go. These are my headphones from Nothing. Really sleek container, nice square frame, not too thick. I do like a carrying case for my headphones specifically. They have that fine leather around them usually, and kind of expensive tech overall. So if I can, I try to bring the case with me every time. Fits perfectly in this roll top area I showed you. Really goes all the way cinched down as well, so it doesn't take up a ton of extra space. Additionally, something else I've been testing, gonna make a video about this. I'm almost certain I have the old version as well. This is the Backbone Pro. If you love gaming on your phone, especially, or on a tablet of some kind, potentially, right, with this one, Bluetooth connectivity and whatnot, this is a fantastic thing to be able to bring with you. It's just so smooth, especially when you're connected in via the USB-C here. It is just such a great gaming experience if you've got the phone that supports it with the processing speed and the GPU speed. That's it for the roll top. If we go just behind the roll top, there is another compartment here. This is more of a quick access compartment. This is where I keep general day-to-day things. So things like my work phone, my wallet, and a pair of smaller day-to-day headphones. That is all I keep in there. I wasn't packing it fully out. There was a little bit more space in there where I could put some additional items, you know, chapstick, a pen, a knife, a smaller notebook, things that I would carry generally in my pockets, I would totally toss in this pocket for the most part. Now off to the side of the bag, there is one secret compartment here, which is really nice. It's mostly for keys. It's got the key leash in here, little plastic key leash, moves around. Easy to have your keys on, especially if you've got any kind of modern car where you don't necessarily need to pull your keys out of your bag or pocket or whatever. Really nice compartment off to the side, get your keys out of the way. Also allows you to kind of put an air tag or anything in there. Great compartment overall for that gear that is a little bit odd. These lots of things like dangling around to be secured off to the side and compressed, so no noise, no problems, if you will, especially if your keys are in there by themselves. All right, moving to the front of the bag, there is a pocket that has always existed on the WANDRD. It's a signature pocket across the front here. It takes up the entire front of this bag. I keep things like a Kindle in here. You can keep notebooks, magazines. Overall, not one of my favorite pockets. I think it's just an add-on the bag, which is totally fine. A way to kind of use this little bit of space, but really hard to use when you're using the rest of the bag. Just something to keep in mind. You're basically only going to be able to put the flattest of items directly in this compartment. All right, moving off to the other side now. You can see I've got attached here in the water bottle compartment, nice space for my tripod. I keep a Ulanzi tripod. I don't think they make this one in particular anymore, but they have an upgraded version. And I keep this PGY Tech, which I keep on actually pretty much all my stuff. Keep this PGY Tech piece, which allows me to use any kind of plate here and just attach it in and also lock it so that there is no way that my camera will come off, which is awesome. Now move into the back, and before I jump into the main area in the main compartment here, I'm going to talk about one of the few gripes that I have with the backpack, and that is this harness system. It is okay for V4. It is fairly rigid, though there is some like thick padding here. It is fairly rigid, and it retains a ton of moisture overall. So again, it's a heavier bag. You're expecting to carry a good amount of stuff in here. It would be nice if there was a way to wick more moisture out of here. It gets pretty wet when you've got it on your back for a while, especially if you're doing something like hiking. You are gonna feel not just the weight, but kind of that humidity build up, if you will, between your bag and your back. One great thing about this luggage pass through, nice and wide enough. I got this pretty packed out overall, still can get a couple of inches out of here. So it makes it pretty easy to actually use this, which if you think of some of the luggage pass throughs on backpacks these days, they're there for show is what it feels like. Like there's really no space if you're actually using the backpack. This has some space, which is fantastic. Lastly, about the harness system here, I just think for like, $200 plus, this is not the mechanism that I would go with for a strap. Really cheap feeling plastic. Not my favorite. Moves pretty nicely across this ridge. The ridge is okay. I would love to see maybe a magnet of some kind, something that makes it a little bit easier to actually use this. Again, when it's a heavily packed bag, this mini clip here, this mini clip system that they have, it just doesn't do it for me overall. I like using the sternum strap, getting the straps out from underneath my shoulders or my armpits. So much more comfortable when you can actually engage that sternum strap and it feels comfortable throughout the day. Before we go any further, just see how the backpack looks. So again, I like to engage that sternum strap. Gives me a nice clearance out from under my armpits here and just goes right over my chest. Has a nice drape over the back. Feels, again, fairly comfortable as long as you're not like hiking or doing something super active with it. You're not going to get that full sweat buildup, which can be a problem. So again, in the winter, or if you're not wearing this for a ton of time, this can be fantastic. And I'm just realizing that maybe wearing black, well, demoing a black backpack might have made this a little more difficult for you all to see. Apologies. You can see the drape there and how it sits on the back. Again, this is the 21 liter, about 6 feet tall, 195 pounds or so. So you can see really how it fits here. Time to get into the main compartment now. This is kind of this full lay flat. This is great in TSA. I was actually able to use this feature recently, which is really nice. I was in a pretty regulated TSA line where they were a little bit more strict. They said basically all tech comes out, and I carry a ton of tech. Usually I had a laptop, I had a tablet, I had my camera, I had a bunch of other things in here. They let me use this kind of full lay flat feature instead of taking everything out and putting it in the buckets, basically just laying this on the actual conveyor belt and just leaving it open like this. So worked out perfectly. Feature is as advertised. So this is that compartment that we were just talking about. So this is the roll top compartment here, which you can get into super easily. This is now the third way that you can get into that roll top compartment. And that zips up, stays nice and clean at the top here, which I just love, right? The distribution that you can have in a bag matters so much for how you actually use it. So having something that keeps some of the things that you're holding just right at the top there without them having the chance to fall to the bottom. One of my favorite features that I really love about this bag. If you look at the inside here, this is the camera cube that is also removable. That's on the inside here. It is padded. It is awesome for carrying a ton of camera gear and making sure that it feels safe, right? If you were gonna be in planes, on trains, in the forest, you know, climbing a mountain, any of those places where you might be in some sort of inclement weather, you might have to set your bag down on a random thing, maybe it'll fall. If you're on the side of a mountain or something, side of a hill, it may fall down that hill. You wanna make sure that it is fully protected. So we'll talk about all the protection in here, but functionally, this camera cube does a ton of the work. And you can see even has these elastic straps that are able to Velcro in and out. So in here, I carry a quick tech kit. This one is the Evergoods 1.5 or the 0.5 liter, sorry, which is great for most of my needs. Overall, I'll carry this pretty much most places these days. It has great compartmentalization and then is just so tiny at about a ½ liter. Carries most of the things that I might ever need while I'm on the road. Next, and I did this just for display here, right? This is my photo camera. It's a Leica 43, which is fantastic. But I also put in a couple of extra lenses in here so that if you are carrying a camera that has interchangeable lenses, any kind of, I use Sony system, of course, but any Panasonic, Nikon, Canon, of course, right? You might bring various lenses with you. So just to show, you can bring at least a couple of lenses with one attached to the body in this space here. And one of the other nice things that I didn't actually get to show here is on the side, there is a quick access pocket to the camera as it sits in here. So even when the bag is full and on your back, it's an extremely full bag, you've got really nice quick access to your camera. You just swing it off your left shoulder here. You've got this quick compartment that opens or flaps up. You can see your camera is exposed now. You can very easily just grab it and start shooting. Same thing for putting it back. Super easy here. Zip it back up and throw it back on your back. So when you are hiking, traveling, on a train, anything, right? Anything where you have the ability to use your hands still and take pictures, you can always easily swing it back up, grab your camera, take your pictures, put it back. Additionally, inside that pocket, there's a little bit of extra storage in here with some mesh slip pockets. These are great for things like extra batteries or memory cards. You just slip them in to these pockets here, and you got those nice and ready to go for your camera as needed. All right, lastly, we're gonna move to the back panel. This is one of the things that they've redesigned over the years. So in the V4, they added a little bit more dimension here in these pockets, which is fantastic. In V1, they had no pockets here, which I would say the community thought was a miss. One of the first things they added in, I believe it was V2. Really nice to see that dimensionality. Gives you the ability to add a lot more to these pockets. Things like even this Backbone Pro can fit in a pocket like this. Takes a little bit of moving in, right? But you can still close it down, still has a nice amount of space in there. Now, if you overfill this portion, right? If you overfill what's in here, it's gonna be much harder to close that on this flap. So just something to keep in mind as you're thinking of what type of product you put in here with what type of volume it might have. Next, there are two more slip pockets right up here. I, for the sake of showing, have put in a third pair of headphones. These are some open air headphones. Then in the second one, I just have a Anker battery. This is their 5,000 milliamp one. Really nice to use overall, great for a phone, getting an extra charge in. If you've got something bigger like a camera or a bigger phone like I do, I have the Z Fold 7. You're not gonna get a full charge from this, but it is just so small and thin. It is pretty great to be able to just slip in pretty much any bag and bring with you. Especially if you have a couple of them, you'll get what you need. Then, if you look in here, there are two slip pockets that are extremely well padded. They've got like 1/4 inch of this nice soft padding here. So you can slip a laptop in really easily, as well as a tablet across both of those compartments. So when you're looking at this bag and all the things that you can fit inside of it, this is 21 liters, but in my opinion, it carries much bigger than a 21 liter bag, which is So nice to see. Part of the reason for that is because they have such good distribution across the bag, right? There's a space at the top that nothing can fall below. There's a space at the bottom that has this awesome organization through the camera kit, if you will. And then across the back here, you can again distribute things across the entirety of that back panel, allowing you to really just carry more and more stuff. And the nice part about this Provoke, I would say, especially if you don't have something like a tripod hanging off the end or the outside, kind of looks like a tech bag, right? It doesn't look like you've got thousands of dollars of camera gear in it necessarily. So it's one of those really nice discreet bags that you can bring with you to a lot of places, especially if you don't put, again, anything too indiscreet on the outside. That's just a good, comfortable, easy to wear bag, especially for the right type of weather. So who is the Provoke for? I would say it's for that rugged tech head, somebody who's going to be out in the elements, somebody who's going to be out in basically like variable weather, who also wants to be able to bring something to the boardroom or to a professional setting from time to time without having to worry about dressing it up and dressing it down. Comes in various colors. This black and red one I think is nice, discreet, easy to bring, or like I said, dress up and dress down, easy to bring to multiple places. Especially with the differentiation in size, the 21 liter is fantastic for people like me who want to use it for that everyday carry, adventures in the city. But if you do want something that's that more one bag travel, you've got the 31 and the 41 liter options, which really increase the versatility that you can have with a bag like this. So who is this not for? I would say if you're not somebody who carries a lot of tech, this is going to be way overkill for you. You don't need a camera cube built into your backpack, probably. If you carry one laptop and a handful of cables, there are 100 bags that I could recommend that would probably be better for you, less expensive, maybe even more expensive, more premium. Really depends on kind of what you're going for, but would probably meet your need and your use case more readily than the Provoke. If you can't tell, I do love the WANDRD Provoke. It's one of the staple backpacks in the EDC community, but it's clear that especially with V4 here, right? WANDRD didn't reinvent the backpack, didn't reinvent the wheel. They just made it operate a lot more smoothly. So thank you, WANDRD, for listening to your community, making those updates, and continuing to deliver really kick-ass gear. So let me know in the comments down below, is the roll top for you? Do you have a Provoke? How do you feel about the comfort? Do you have one of the older models and didn't feel like it was worth upgrading? Leave any of your thoughts down below in the comments. While you're down there, don't forget to like, subscribe, get notified of new videos from your boy, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.